It's hard to believe, but January's already half over, which means it's time to start planning my February budget. I'll show you how I'm putting mine together step by step, plus some big news about a change I'm making at the end of the month coming up next. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today, as I mentioned, I'm starting to work on my February budget. I like to do this about midway through the month before because that's around the time that I have enough information to give myself a pretty good picture of what the following month is going to look like. If I do it too soon in the month, then I won't have all of the figures for the expenses that are likely to come up. But if I leave it for too late, then I'm either rushing or I am more error prone. So at any rate, I am filling in my income for what I expect to come in February. Unlike last year, I am now budgeting a lot closer to the projected actuals. I'm not rounding as much, and so I'm putting in $3,070 for each of two paychecks and then $100 for a cell reimbursement from my company for a total of $6,240. Down here, I'm filling in my bills, and the reason why I have the January budget out is because I use that as a guide for the monthly expenses and what they'll typically look like. Sometimes they do vary, like here on the water sewer garbage bill, I have to go and reference what I wrote down in my last weekly check-in to see what the February amount will be. So that's going to be about $244. That one does go up and down every single month. So my Orca card, which is the local transit pass, or it's like a wallet that you keep on a card and you tap it when you ride a bus or train. That one varies also month to month. And this one, I don't know what it's going to be until I get to the end of the month. So here I'm just going to take out a highlighter and I'm going to highlight that $70. It could be more, it could be less. Chances that it will be spot on are pretty small, but it's at least an educated guess of what it will be. So now I'm going to write in the renter's insurance. That doesn't change from month to month, and my plan is super affordable. It's only $11, and I have really great coverage. I do keep a high deductible, but I figure the chances of anything happening in my apartment are pretty small. So here we have the first of two deposits to my emergency fund, or transfers to my emergency fund. Those are $205 each, and there's two per month. My iCloud subscription, which is $3 a month. YouTube Premium, $16 a month, and that is one of the best amounts of money that I spend every month. I do not like watching the ads on YouTube, but at the same time I like supporting creators, so I am happy to pay the $16 to not have to watch ads. The other transfer to my emergency fund is the next one that I'm going to write down, and then Puget Sound Energy, or PSE, that is the local electrical provider. I don't know how much that's going to be. I don't have the bill yet, so I'm going to estimate $40, and I will highlight that one as well. The next couple bills, Affirm and Visible, those are both for cell phone. So Affirm, I financed my phone at 0%. I have no regrets about that. I would much rather finance something at 0% and keep the extra money up front to invest or just have on hand to earn interest, rather than forking out the $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 that a cell phone costs now right off the bat. Visible is my monthly cell phone plan. That's always $35. And now I'm moving on to Astound Broadband, which is home internet, gigabit speed for $50 a month. You'll notice that I skipped over prescriptions from January. This is a surprise that I got just today when I went to the pharmacy to pick them up. They've started filling 3 months at a time now, so the cost was significantly higher than I expected. I don't mind that they filled 3 months. It's, fewer trips to the pharmacy that I have to make. I just wasn't expecting it. So I have to kind of rejigger my budget around that. I will have another expense this month to go and pick up one that because I didn't realize they were doing 90-day supplies, it was really expensive, so I told them to put it back. I'd come pick it up later. But now that I know I'm on a 90-day supply, I will go back and get it. So you saw me check there for my annual subscriptions just to see if I had any annual subscriptions that would come out in February, and I didn't. I had one in January, and the next one's not until March. So now what I'm doing is totaling up the bills so I can get the total for that section. I'm going to write it down here at the bottom, just over $3,000. Most of it is rent, honestly. It costs a lot to live in this zip code in this area, so it just kind of is what it is. So now what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm writing down the dates for all of the Fridays in February. And this is my weekly spending that I give myself. I give myself $100 in cash and $150 on my credit cards because they earn rewards. So for this month, for February rather, because there's only 4 Fridays, it'll be $1,000 in that weekly spend. So that covers everything from groceries to discretionary to meals out, just anything that I want to spend that isn't a bill or a stockpile or a savings. So now I'm filling in the amounts for stockpiles, and I decided that I was going to count my emergency fund saving as a stockpile just because I'm doing savings challenges for it. This is not the same as, well, it's going to the same place as the transfers. Those are just what I send over there automatically every month. But these are going to come from game night and from other sources. So I've put in $1,000. I'm going to come back and revise that in a little bit just because I have one other stockpile coming up. And that is because I have decided to move. Now, this is not the big move that I've been talking about. This is a local move, but I will need money for that. So I am going to put in another line here for the 26th because my lease is up at the end of February, and it's going to be about $1,000 for that move. Now, that is just for the movers. There are also upfront costs with signing a new lease and all of that, and I may have to dip into my emergency fund for that. I don't yet have my rainy day fund funded because I'm focusing on the emergency fund. So we may have to move some money around later in the month. But I am also leaving myself a buffer here of, well, I did the math wrong. So I've got to get out the whiteout and take that off. But then I will add up, I'll take my income, I'll subtract the expenses, and then the difference is going to be the buffer. I don't really believe in the zero-based budget. I think you should leave yourself some room. If you budget down to $0, then you end up moving things around, I think, a lot more versus if you give yourself just a little bit of a slush fund there to kind of catch the little rounding errors. Because moving $5, $10 around from one place to another inside of the month would drive me crazy. So I do it this way. If zero-based works for you, then by all means, it's a perfectly valid way to budget, but it's just not something that I want for how I budget. So after that extreme close-up of my arm, now I'm going to start filling in the cash allocation worksheet. And this I do so that in my monthly budget overview, there isn't really room to fill in what those stockpiles are for. So I do this to make sure that I'm keeping on track with what all of these different amounts are meant to be. Now, the groceries and cash, that's always the same. The only difference are obviously the dates and then how many Fridays there are from month to month. So we had 5 Fridays in November and 5 again in January. February and March each have 4, and I think April we're back to 5. So it varies, and that extra $250 has to come out of cash flow every time that it comes up. So I have $250 less in those months that I can put toward my goals because I have to come up with another week's worth of spending. So at any rate, I am just filling these in. It's going to be the same for every week. I suppose I don't really have to do this because it doesn't change, but I find that it's a good exercise that, the more that I repeat it with the writing it down, the more it's ingrained that I am only giving myself this much to spend per week on these types of expenses. And I'm doing better at not going over budget. The last 2 weeks I've been under. The first week I was way under, and I'm really proud of myself for that. And I really hope that trend continues. But with the move coming up, we'll see what happens in February. Now, for stockpiles, originally here I'm going to write in that it's an emergency fund, and it is, but it isn't. Right now, all of the money that I'm saving from savings challenges and game night, which is on Mondays on my channel, is going toward the emergency fund as the goal. But once that emergency fund is fully funded, I'm still going to do savings challenges. So I'm just going to white this out. I had last month, or for January for this month, I had it written as savings challenges. So I'm going to do that here again, and write in that it's for savings challenges. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I've got 4 savings goals this year. The first one is to get the emergency fund fully funded, and I'm tracking that closely. Second will be the rainy day fund. Third will be the Roth IRA, up to $7,000 for the annual maximum. And then after that, I'm saving toward the big move. The big move is a move out of state. I don't know to which state. I don't know when it will happen, but I know it's going to be costly because of how much I have to move. And so I am just putting that as a goal out into the universe that I will start saving for once my more important goals are met. So that's it for the cash allocation worksheet. And now I'm going to fill in the cash flow tracker. This is sort of like a checking account register. I'm just going to fill in the month and the year because I don't know any of these figures. I don't have any transactions yet, so I'm just doing that here just to have it ready. And then the next one will be the same way. That's going to be the expense tracker. Obviously, we're not in February yet, so I don't have any expenses to record for February. I will when we get there, but I can at least put in the month and the year. And then, of course, the month-end review. Pretty much the same. I don't have anything to put in as a review because we haven't even started the month, let alone finished it. But I can fill in the month of the year and the plan for all of these different categories. This, I think, is perhaps the most important of all of the worksheets that I do every month because this is backward looking. This isn't, just what was the plan, but it's how did I do against that plan. So I'm filling in the same numbers that I put in on the budget overview worksheet. And then once we get through February, I will put in the final numbers, note the difference, why there's a difference, because there always is. I mean, almost always it doesn't come out exact. And then some reflections on that to help me plan better in the future. But for now, this worksheet is pretty much complete along with everything else. So I'm just going to stack them up. I'm going to move to the back of where the January budget is. I'm going to put away my writing board first. I'll move to the back of where my January budget worksheets are in my notebook, and then I'll just pop them in. This is a happy planner. I bought metal rings from a different supplier. I think these are Levenger rings, but I'm a big believer in Happy Planner, or Discbound Planner in general, because of how easy it is to move things around, put new worksheets in, take old worksheets out, reshuffle them. I think as you're learning to budget and doing this for the first time, it makes it a lot easier. So there we go, and I'll be back to summarize in just a moment. So that's my February 2025 budget. It's not where I thought the money would be going, but life just happened to throw me a curveball, and I think this is what's best for me in the long term, or at least that's what my gut is telling me. I want to thank you for spending time with me today, and especially for watching all the way to the end of the video. That really does mean a lot to me. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, leave me a comment, and share with your friends. If you're interested in any of the worksheets that I used in today's video, they're available on my Etsy shop, and a link will be down in the description. Until I see you again next time, take care.